Welcome back to the network. This is episode 6, and I am still Nathan Lewitt. That is still Trevor Lewitt. This is still Easton John, and I believe you're still Caden Walker.
For now.
For now. Okay, that's great. Well, let's hope you stay who you are for a little bit longer. Well, we're going to go right to you with our weekly recap of the NFL.
Yeah, I'm doing the weekly recap as always. Pretty big week in the NFL. A lot of things happened. We're going to cover some of the bigger topics here in a second, but just to get some little stuff out of the way, Stephon Gilmore was traded from the Patriots for a 6th-round pick. They were going to release him, and he could have gone to any team and signed. But due to his contract size, the Panthers were really one of very few teams that could afford him. They get a great corner. It's a shame that the Patriots are going to lose out on such a talent.
Yeah, and they just get back a 6th-round pick. I thought they would want higher or something.
They couldn't get higher, I promise you.
They
I mean, he's a talented player, but due to that contract size and just the fact that he wasn't going to return, they were just going to release him. It's better to get something instead of nothing. That's what they did. It's a bad return. You would hope to see a relationship like that get rebuilt. We saw that with Aaron Rodgers. I thought a lot of people didn't think he was going to return, and he did. And maybe, Bill Belichick could have,
Is Bill Belichick the problem? Or do we know?
I don't think he's the problem. He's a big ego, but he does things how he wants them done. Stephon Gilmore didn't want to play there. At the end of the day, you can't play with a guy that does not want to play for you. So they trade him. Mending relationships is a big part of what the NFL is about. And they just couldn't do it here. They lose out on a former Defensive Player of the Year. Panthers, great move by them. Low capital to bring in a great player. That defense just gets
a lot better. They got a 99 overall player from Madden.
Well, way to put it into the Madden terms. Yeah. Oh, also the scouting update dropped from Madden. That's kind of NFL, so that's cool. They've been waiting on that for a while. Moving on, kickers in the NFL suck.
Yeah.
At least this weekend they did.
Crosby missed 3 field goals that could have sealed the deal.
Not even just Crosby. Yeah. That entire game was just plagued by the field goal kickers. Crosby missed 2 extra points. He missed 3 field goals. And then finally put one up.
And he's the GOAT.
In the game.
It's just so weird because I think, was it 26 in a row that he made going into that?
I think it was 27, but yeah.
27? Wow. I mean, and just to have that type of performance is just so weird. And we saw that across the league. One thing I do want to say about that game real quick, what a performance by 2 receivers, Devontae Adams and Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase shocked me.
Yeah, well, Jamar Chase hasn't shocked me. I mean, I expected him to do this.
I was low on Jamar Chase.
You were? Yeah, I think I saw what he did in college, and
I knew he had a year off, didn't he?
He had a year off. He was I don't know. I just didn't like him going into the year. I thought his ability to get separation was not that great, and he did struggle catching the ball in the preseason. I didn't think that was a big of a deal, but Joe Burrow kind of did struggle throwing or trusting his receivers to throw contested catches. But Jamar Chase has just found himself open a lot more this year. He's been great.
Devontae Adams had a really good game.
Devontae Adams had a great game.
Not just Devontae Adams, but just the connection between Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, especially.
That chemistry is insane. I think Jamar Chase right now has to be the Rookie of the Year pick. It's his to lose. You guys feel the same?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I think my pick is switched to Jamar Chase now.
Okay, well.
And once again, I'll also note that even though the field goal was missed, Aaron Rodgers once again proved he needs less than 20 seconds to get down the field to win the game, even though they didn't.
Well, they did win the game.
I mean, they did in overtime, but not that drive.
It was really weird, and I kind of, honestly, I expected more out of the Packers offense. I thought the defense, considering the absence of Jair Alexander, performed pretty well. Yeah. Joe Burrow played well.
But then again, that defense covered the Packers pretty well, too.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted our offense to perform better against that personnel. Sorry?
Because the Packers' run game just wasn't there in that game.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Jones is great, but
Dylan, he had more points in fantasy than Aaron Jones this week, which is weird.
Well, they were both. I think they did pretty decent through the ground game. I just think it didn't. I don't know, for some reason it didn't convert to scoring. Obviously, there's a lot of missed kicks, and that we'll take out. So it wasn't as bad as it might seem on paper. But I did want to see a more dominant performance. But I mean, Bengals have looked good so far. Packers have looked better. Not much else to say there.
Joe Burrow left to
he was rushed to the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
The throat, was it contusion or something like that?
Throat contusion.
Believe throat contusion.
Yeah.
Everything I've heard so far, he was fine.
For the people that
after the game.
For the people that don't know what a contusion is
it's a bruise.
Yeah, it's just when you get poked in the throat really hard. So.
Well, any type of contusion is just a bruise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But with everything I've seen, he's A-okay to go.
And then obviously the game against the Chargers versus the Browns. Crazy game.
That was a great game.
Listen, I was wrong. I didn't expect Justin Herbert to be this good in year 2, or really this good at all, because this is a Peyton Manning level performance we saw like at a year 2 for a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
He's been insane.
His ball just looks so good through the air, though.
Yeah, his arm talent is incredible. Mike Williams has been amazing. Keenan Allen's still been good. Austin Eckler had a great game.
Drew Brees described Justin Herbert's ball as once it throws, it just keeps on getting faster and faster and faster as it keeps on taking flight.
He goes, this is the only quarterback. Oh, yeah, Drew Brees. Yeah, he said this is the first quarterback I've seen that halfway down the pass, the ball speeds up as it goes.
Yeah, which
I mean, doesn't actually
happen,
it just seems like
they've had 2 rookies just perform at an elite level, and Rashawn Slater, their first-round pick, left tackle, he's been phenomenal. And the other one was Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback, rookie corner for the Chargers. He has stepped up and played great as a rookie cornerback, which is something that is extremely rare. His impact has just been – it's jumped off the screen, and it's a big reason why the Chargers are so good this year. Browns, they looked pretty good. Their defense looks really pretty rough.
I expected not like Myles Garrett to kind of do a little bit more than what he did. I know
that's Rashawn Slater's impact. It goes to show you just how good he is. And I don't know. I didn't expect this from the Chargers this year. I thought their defense didn't look great this game.
We'll see how it holds up, though. We'll see if he. I mean, at the end of the year, we'll look back and say Justin Herbert had one of the best sophomore seasons that I've ever seen out of a quarterback. So.
Yeah, not a sophomore slump for sure. So Chargers are legit.
Yeah,
Browns are a little scary right now, I think.
Yeah, they are. They're in a little bit of trouble.
And then the Giants and the Cowboys, huge injuries for the Giants. Daniel Jones went out. Saquon Barkley's out with an ankle, and then Kenny Golladay went out of the game as well. So that was unfortunate to see. Another thing I want to touch on is rookie wide receiver Kadarius Toney had a great game. Had several, I don't know how many catches, but about 180 yards just over. He was great. He kind of made Trevon Diggs look a little silly throughout that game. Now, mind you, Trevon Diggs did get another consecutive pick in this game. So he's still on an excellent pace. But his coverage on Kadarius Toney throughout stretches in this game was not great. It was not elite.
But you gotta remember, he has no tape of that receiver, so he doesn't really know how to match up to him. That was the first time he's ever seen someone.
Well, I just think it goes to show how talented Kadarius Toney is.
His route running ability.
And then his ability to break tackles is insane.
Yeah.
And then he left the game because he kind of punched somebody, which sucks because he was electric in that game. Yeah. Probably could have finished with over 200 yards. He's looked great. He's looked, in my opinion, like the second best wide receiver. At least I know it's a small game sample size. It's just one game. But he was just that good that I would put him over Devontae Smith, and I would put him over Jalen Waddle so far.
I did not expect this from him. I thought Devontae Smith would take over the rookie wide receiver game and Jamar Chase as well, but he's kind of he's up there with Jamar Chase. I feel like. Yeah,
certainly is. But I feel like those two guys are really leading the race as far as receivers go. Jamar Chase obviously being a step ahead of everyone, though.
Of course.
Final thing I want to touch on: Ravens-Colts. Wild game. We'll get more into about that when we talk about the MVP. But
that game won me fantasy this week.
Sorry?
That game won me fantasy this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, lost me. Love Lamar. Also hate him because he cost me my win in fantasy. I dropped to 2 and 3. Sucks to suck. That's on me. It's also kind of on Saquon's ankle.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think he's going to be back in 2 to 3 weeks, it said on the fantasy report, unless it's changed from the time of this recording. But
I tell you what. I hate Myles Gaskin because last week he put up 0.3 points, and then this week he's sitting on my bench and put up like 31.9, which would have won me my fantasy game.
That's a little frustrating.
That is frustrating.
A big difference.
Yeah, whatever though. I mean, obviously I wasn't going to play him ahead of Saquon, so it was just really unlucky. But yeah, Lamar looked great. He's insane. Great game by Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews. And
Hollywood Brown really stepped up his game from all those drops he had that one game.
Yeah, he's kind of just going to be an inconsistent guy, it seems like, at least so far. But if he can fix the drops, he's got the speed to be an electric player. So I think that concludes my recap. We can move on to our first big topic.
Yep, our first big one we're talking about this week, and yeah, I know we keep talking about the Chiefs and Packers, but we can't help ourselves. But the Chiefs lose at home to the Bills, 38-20 this weekend, and it's starting to look pretty rough.
Yeah.
I mean, it was already looking pretty rough for the Chiefs, but now I'm starting to get worried for you.
If you guys haven't noticed, I'm kind of quiet, sitting back in my chair a little bit, because you know what? This is not who the Chiefs are, and I don't know.
Sure about that?
This is not who the Chiefs are.
Might not have been who they were last season.
I don't know how many times I have to hear Mahomes in the post-game interview say, we just got to get better. We just got to get better. And it's just like, when is it going to get better? But, oh, man, that was frustrating, seeing Daniel Sorensen.
He gave up 2 touchdowns, didn't he?
Gave up 2 touchdowns, and I don't know what his game plan was to see Josh. He covered Dawson Knox, and then he just left. He just faded away like a ghost and gave away a touchdown.
It was almost like he thought he had help in the secondary, and there was no one back there.
Well, okay, so how many times do I have to see Tyrann Mathieu be blitzing and then throw up his hands like, what the heck's going on? And if I'm Tyrann Mathieu, I'm getting in everybody's faces and be like, you guys got to wake up, because I can't do everything on my own in the backfield. Another thing, Tyreek Hill misses a ball once again and causes an interception. So I don't know what is going on with him.
You know who else caused an interception? Patrick Mahomes. Because he has not looked that good this year. Well, he underthrew a lot of balls. I get it, the weather wasn't great, but 54 passing attempts.
It didn't really affect anybody until the second half, though.
Yeah, after that delay, but 54 passing attempts for only 272 yards. That is terrible efficiency, especially for a man like Mahomes. It's terrible efficiency for any quarterback. And then also to have 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I get it.
What was the second interception? I don't know why my mind's blanking.
I'm blanking as well. It was a long game with that delay.
Yeah,
it was. I'm pretty sure.
I know Micah Hyde had that one. Was that one off Tyreek's hands, or was that one?
No. So the second interception, it was batted at the line. But that was more on Lucas Niang's. He gave up on the play too. He kind of just blocked him and then just let him just put his hands up as a.
What is he gonna do in that situation? That's honestly, I feel like that's way more on Mahomes.
Well,
you have to understand that you're not always gonna have a clear throwing lane, and he does have that kind of elastic arm where he should be able to at least understand that is a possibility, and to not get bad at the line like that. It happens, but he just. For him to be the best quarterback in the league, by consensus, he is the best quarterback in the league. He has not looked like it this year. He has not played like it.
Well, I said this, I think, 2 episodes ago now, that like last season and the season before, Mahomes' best weapon has been his squirrely mobility to make stuff happen magically.
Yeah,
and that has been his downfall this season.
Because when
he starts moving, that's when stuff starts getting.
And I'm glad you said that, because defenses didn't know how to guard Mahomes in 2018, 2019,
but now they do.
But now they do. So this is to all the Chiefs fans. Let the Chiefs figure out how to win and develop plays to beat what what the defensive coordinators are thinking. So you know what I'm saying.
Listen, we're 5 games into the season. It's a little late for you to be doing that. Obviously, they've come in with their game plan, and I don't think it's their game plan offensively. I think it's more so just Patrick Mahomes has not performed at that same level that he has in years past, and that contract is preventing them from getting talent on defense. That's why a guy like Sorensen is still on the field. That man should not be on the field. That man would be lucky to be a backup on most teams, and he's out there guarding Dawson Knox almost every play, getting burned, and they can't take him off because they just don't have the personnel to. He did finally come off late, but what I'm saying is, Patrick Mahomes, if you're going to earn that much money and you're going to take that big of a cap hit, then you have to perform at the level that can legitimify that and can justify that. Because without you performing at that level, you're going to lose games, and that's what happened here. That defense is atrocious. It's pathetic. So especially, I think Chris Jones, they were missing him on the line. So that pass rush wasn't really there. And then, not that it would have even mattered, because Josh Allen took control of that game. He evaded pressure. And he was just insane. Definitely an MVP candidate.
Yeah, but let me go back to what I was saying about I know it's week 5, it's going on to week 6, but these teams now are just pummeling the offense and just knowing what beats them and stuff. So
they found
found his kryptonite, and I think it's gonna take a few weeks, maybe till next season, to figure out how to beat this plan that the defense is running.
I don't even know if it's the plan. I just don't think Patrick Mahomes is performing at the same level. I think his play is just bad right now. Okay. I don't know if it's necessarily game plans.
Well, teams are catching on to what he does best, and now he needs to take time to slow down and rethink what he needs to do in those hot moments when the defense is closing down on him.
But he's also not hitting the same passes that
it looked like he was second guessing himself.
Well, he's freaking out. And when you freak out, you're just not going to perform.
I don't know what's going on, but man,
I have no idea what's going on with him psychologically. I just know the throws aren't there.
Yeah, it's so weird because, you know, he's been this electric player, and now that he's just on a downfall, it's so weird to see him struggling, you know?
And I definitely think he can bounce back this year, but I still don't think that it'll be enough. Listen, if I asked you guys, what are the odds that the Chiefs are making the Super Bowl this year? What would you say?
I'd say not. At this point, they're going to struggle to get that wild card position. They might win that first one, but they won't win the next game.
I think they'll get the wild card position, but it's just slim chances of getting to the Super Bowl. So, and then to all the...
How many teams would you pick above them to make the Super Bowl?
How many teams?
In the AFC.
In the AFC, I'd pick the Bills, the Ravens, the Chargers over them. I'd pick the... the Browns aren't looking good.
But the Browns did give him a run for the money.
Yeah, the Browns did give him a run for money, so I'll put the Browns ahead of them, and then I'd put the Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, I could see them getting a wild card spot, but I just want to make an announcement to all Chiefs fans that are, like, so depressed and thinking, like, this season's over, like, the Chiefs are done. Like, the Chiefs can be bad. They can be a bad team because they're not like that dynasty. They've only been to the Super Bowl twice, and they got smoked in one of them. So they're not a Kobe, I'll make a basketball comparison. They aren't like the Kobe Shaq dynasty. You know what I'm saying? They can be bad. So
can I brain on this break?
Well, I don't get what you're saying. Any team can be bad, but I don't have to like it.
It's you don't like people in the media are just bouncing around the bush saying.
I get the expectations for the Chiefs are absurdly high, and I think Patrick Mahomes kind of does get this Tom Brady comparison and expectations, when it just isn't fair because no quarterback will ever do that again. I believe not for a long, long time. Not in my lifetime. I don't believe no one will see 6 or 7 rings.
Yeah.
Mahomes to have that lofty expectation, it's just not going to happen. I can see him retiring with 1 or 2, maybe. I think right now I'm leaning towards 1 Super Bowl. I could maybe see him getting another, but getting to 3, that's a tough task at this point.
I don't think he'll get another at Kansas City.
Oh, well,
I think he'll retire.
We'll see,
Kansas.
But
or Kansas City, sorry.
But again, I think the Chiefs, they can be, they're having a bad year. Every team can have a bad year. So
not when this is kind of their last year to retain this talent. They couldn't afford this because this is kind of their window. Because after this season, it's going to be rough as far as extending these players with Mahomes' contract. So, and they just haven't really. I mean, they've drafted okay, but I really didn't like that pick. I forget the linebacker's name.
Nick Bolton.
Nick Bolton.
I like him as that pick.
He's kind of a slower guy, and I don't think that's what you need at the linebacker position. Not in this NFL. You kind of need that speed, and to add him to a linebacker core with Hitchens, it just didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. So Chiefs are having a rough year. I'm still gonna root for them. I'm gonna still pick them every week. And then this is where I kind of respected Josh Allen. He said, you can't win 4 games to get in the playoffs. So that's where I kind of respected him a little bit more because, it's still early in the season. We still don't know what's gonna happen late in the season. Maybe the Chiefs catch fire and our whole moods just change. Like, hey, the Chiefs are back. So. That's where I'm going to end that.
So, something else that's a little bit too early in the season to really solidify, but can start speculating at this point at least. Who would y'all say is y'all's MVP candidate at the moment? Or is at least running for that?
Oh, you want me to start? I'm going to start. So, with my MVP pick, I'm going to pick Kyler Murray just because of the level of difficulty in that division and who he has to play against and who he has to beat and look good. I think he's looking electric this year so far. Later in the schedule, I know they got some tough competition. And if he beats them, like the Rams again, and the 49ers, and then the Seahawks, if he destroys them, I can see him being the MVP pick if he has those high stats and electric plays with D-Hop and all.
I've seen a lot of people comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, saying that he's like the Walmart version of Patrick Mahomes. When Patrick Mahomes
I'd say he's like a miniature Mahomes. I wouldn't say Walmart. But yeah,
they're comparing the way he's looking right now when Patrick Mahomes had his MVP season.
Is that your pick as well, Trevor?
I would have Kyler Murray 1 right now, but close second would be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson could eventually get on top.
I think I'd put, Kyler Murray is my number 1, and then Lamar Jackson, and then Josh Allen, because Josh Allen is in the AFC East, who's their division is just in shambles. Like, it's gone.
Despite them being in shambles, he's played the Chiefs and dismantled them. He's played great.
It's.
They have played a lot of bad teams, but they've also looked the best, in my opinion. And Josh Allen has looked really good for a majority of that.
Okay, let me know what Joe would think about this. I wouldn't even really say they're in so much in shambles. Is that just over there they are way more evenly matched team to team?
What do you mean?
No, the Jets are a really bad team to me, and then
Jets.
Yeah. Well, they're in that division.
They are.
Yeah. And then the Dolphins are kind of trash to me as well.
The Bills
and the Patriots they've looked really bad with Mac Jones at quarterback. And
if you look at the Bills,
I mean, they almost got beat by the Texans and Davis Mills.
Yeah. And if you look at the Bills' schedule, I think it's kind of light. It's kind of on the lighter side.
But they still got a huge victory. But Josh Allen does kind of have an easier road this year. But if he performs at a high level, he could win MVP. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter because Lamar Jackson is the MVP of this season.
Two-time.
And honestly, it should be unanimous because this man has more total yards than 18 NFL teams. And if we want to talk about a hard road to the MVP, he's had the hardest. I mean, his team, as far as the talent on that offense right now, they literally just picked up their running back core from like Goodwill because they lost J.K. Dobbins, they lost Gus Edwards. They're like, oh, Todd Gurley from the arthritis. His arthritis from what's it called? What are those things called? Nursing homes.
Nursing homes. Yeah.
Sorry. They picked him up from the nursing home. He's playing running back, or he's at least on the practice squad. Devontae Freeman and Latavius Murray have both. They've seen some play, and Lamar Jackson's just been insane. We saw it last night against the Colts. He put the team on his back, and he is just performing at an elite level. Through the air, his passing has been a lot better this year. He has had some turnovers, but he's beat the Chiefs. He beat the Colts in a close game. It shouldn't have been that close.
Yeah, they shouldn't have been.
They beat the Lions. It shouldn't have been that close, but they beat them, and they beat the Chiefs, and where Lamar absolutely took over that game. He looked incredible, and I think it just goes to show like this is the level that he's had to play at to win games. I know they have the loss in Week 1 against the Raiders, but ever since then they've looked great. They dethroned the Broncos, who were undefeated at the time. Kind of dismantled them and exposed them as not a true contender.
I see. Okay. Lamar Jackson, great player, great dual threat quarterback. I just think that I know he carries his team, but with Kyler Murray's division-wise and the competition that's over there in that division, and if he beats those people consistently, I mean, you can't beat around the bush around that. That's a pretty impressive. But
the Seahawks and the 49ers have not looked nearly as good as we thought. Like going into the year, I would say that's the toughest division in football. Mm-hmm. But the AFC North has looked, I think, just as tough through this far at least. The Bengals have looked really good. They've been really competitive. Almost beat the Packers in overtime. And then there's also the Browns in that division, who, they've had a tough year. They've had some really tough opponents. Mm-hmm. But they're still a really good team. And you just said that you would pick them over the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So, clearly, it's not an easy division. The Steelers aren't great, but the Steelers will always give the Ravens a hard game because that's just how divisional games work.
Mm-hmm. They're always going to make that division interesting.
Exactly. So, I think Lamar has just as tough as a row with way worse weapons. And probably a worse defense, I'd say.
Yeah, okay, so Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson are kind of similar. They both use their legs and stuff. The thing about Lamar Jackson, if you take his legs away, if you don't let him, run around the field and stuff, run for 20 yards, that's going to be tough for the Ravens to win ball games.
But who's successfully really taken that away? There's not really any teams. And something that I'm really scared about with Kyler Murray is that he runs around a lot. He's a big improviser type of guy. And I don't know if that's sustainable, because that's a good way to get gassed. That play style, it's not the same as Lamar's rushing, where Lamar kind of just takes the ball and goes. Kyler's bouncing around the pocket, just going. And these plays are taking 10 seconds. And I just don't understand. I don't know if Kyler, especially with a small frame, I don't know if he can sustain that level of play. I feel like it's a good way to get injured and a good way to get gassed. Not even just as yourself, but as your offense, because your whole team is out there. The whole time you're scrambling back there, they're trying to get open or they're trying to hold their blocks. So I think the Cardinals will drop off, and I think when they do, I think it'll become a lot more clear who the real MVP of this league is, and that's Lamar Jackson.
Okay, and then so what I was going to say is that if you take away Kyler Murray's legs away, he can still launch that ball. He is better. I know, but Kyler Murray is a lot better at throwing the ball than Lamar Jackson. Can we agree on that?
I would say he's better, but I don't know if he's been a lot better this year.
Okay.
I think as their careers, I would say Kyler Murray has been a much more talented passer, but Lamar's kind of impressed me through the year this year.
He has, but if you take away that big style of play that Lamar Jackson has.
Okay, but if we take away any big attribute from any great player that's their best thing, then they're not that same player. So let's be real. No one's really taking away Lamar's rushing ability right now. So I don't know why we have to get into hypotheticals like that when I don't think that's going to happen. And he adds so much to your run game because it's so dynamic when you have this guy who's normally not involved in the running game at the quarterback position. And now he is. And that's another guy you have to account for. Okay. And that's just so tough as a defense to scheme against. He takes, when you talk about guys you have to game plan against offensively, he's got to be the number one guy. He has to be.
Yeah, I can see that because you have to debate, if we let him get a little bit of running room, he is going to take that ball and he's going to break some ankles in the process.
You have to put a QB Sky, if not, QB Spy, if not, 2 on him.
A heavier QB Spy than what if you had to do with Kyler Murray.
What Caden said about his throwing ability this year, especially if he gets that running game going early in the game, those safeties are going to at least have to come down a little bit to at least stop the run game. And then
you have Hollywood Brown.
Then each throw bombs.
And Sammy Watkins has played pretty well this year as well for the Ravens. So I think his weapons are a little bit better. They're going to get Rashad Bateman back soon. We're going to see how, if you throw him into the mix, are they even better? And I just think Lamar has been pulling out... Sorry?
Well, you said Lamar Jackson's weapons are looking better.
Yeah, I think Hollywood Brown looks a little bit better. I think when Rashad Bateman gets back, that'll be an improvement. He's a first-round receiver. Mark Andrews, he's obviously a great tight end. He's looked even better this year, in my opinion. The running backs aren't the same. Sorry.
Hollywood Brown and then DeAndre Hopkins. I mean...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I think DeAndre Hopkins is
obviously. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
I would agree
that's
with
the value that
there.
Lamar adds. He's making Hollywood Brown. Honestly,
he's making those receivers look good.
That's what you're trying. Okay.
Well, and I'm also saying his weapons have been at least there, so he can perform.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But when you give a guy like Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, it's a lot easier for him than it would be for Lamar throwing to Sammy Watkins.
And we saw that when Patrick Mahomes kind of won MVP too, because he had those weapons.
He has insane weapons. Mm-hmm. So I think Lamar, when you really, I know it's not the same anymore because really it's the best quarterback on the best team or whoever has the best record. Mm-hmm. But if we want to talk most valuable, Lamar is the most valuable because that team is in shambles without him in a way that I don't think Kyler is in. The Cardinals are in shambles without Kyler. Because I feel like it's still a pretty talented roster. Mm-hmm. I don't think. I mean, the Ravens are talented, but not to this level. Not to where they should be beating the Chiefs and pulling off these insane wins at the end of the game.
Yeah, they're a very lucky team.
I think if that's the team that owes the most to their quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Lamar is that team right now.
If you take away Lamar, your team is done.
And he takes over games, in a way that I don't think we've seen him do in previous years. Like the Chiefs game and this Colts game, especially in overtime. Just completely took it over.
Took that first drive and all the way down and finished it.
Yeah.
So, it'll most definitely be interesting to see how that plays out throughout the rest of the season. Like I said, it's a little early to kind of make much of an argument because you never know what's going to happen going forward. But who would y'all say would be y'all's number one team? Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Who's going to win the Super Bowl this year?
Who's going to be your number one team?
The Cardinals. Because, I mean, so far, undefeated, they've looked phenomenal. I said the Rams are going to be a Super Bowl team, and the Cardinals absolutely just dismantled them, destroyed them. So I think the Cardinals are my number one team right now.
I don't know. That's probably too early for me to say anything. I mean, the Bucs are still looking good. Josh Allen and the Bills are looking great. If you ask me, that's probably the best team as of right now.
Cardinals, I would agree. I would say the Bills are the best team, and I think they're going to be the best team going into the playoffs as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the like you said, Cardinals look good. I think the Cardinals-Rams game was just a bad game for the Rams. I could see them being better in the playoffs, just because it's the playoffs. Everyone plays different in the playoffs, but between those four teams,
the Cardinals don't have that playoff experience. But I think that they'll make a run, a hell of a run to the Super Bowl, and it'll be pretty impressive to watch and see Kyler Murray in the Super Bowl. I think it'd be fun to watch and see who he plays, like a Justin Herbert or Josh Allen. If those two quarterbacks go head to head, I think that'd be one of the best Super Bowls I've ever watched in my entire life.
Well, I think you have to give it to the Bills after what they just did to the Chiefs on national television.
Arrowhead.
I know.
At Arrowhead.
I know that ever since the Chiefs changed it to GEHA Stadium, they haven't been looking the same. But
hey, I said that halftime gave the Bills a nice rejuvenated defense and everything.
Yeah, you said the Bills. So you think the Bills are the number one team so
far?
Well,
when I break it down as far as at every level, who has
defense, offense, especially.
Yeah, so their quarterback, top 5, if not top 3, an MVP candidate, absolutely. He's insane, and he also has that same rushing ability that a guy like Kyler.
Sanders is actually
Emmanuel Sanders is a great weapon.
Good.
Stephon Diggs is a great weapon.
Dawson
Knox has stepped up, and he's been great this year. I think as we see him in his career, he'll get even better and probably be a premier tight end in this league. That running back duo, Zach Moss and Devin Singletary, not great, but they've stepped up compared to last year. They've looked a little bit better. And then that defense with Matt Milano, Tremaine Edmonds?
Edmonds.
On that one. And then Star Lotulelei, if I'm saying that right. And then there's a lot of guys on that D-line that can get after the quarterback. Greg Rousseau. There's a lot of depth as well. That secondary is really good with Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Tre'Davious White. It's just talent at every level. And that's might be the most complete roster in the NFL.
I think the Cardinals have that same type of vibe too, because they also got, Buda Baker, and they also have JJ Watt over there. Chandler Jones, all those guys. And then they also, on the other side of the ball, they got D-Hop. They got Connors and Edmonds, who have been a solid duo running back. And then they also got the guy, Kyler Murray.
I'm not crazy about that O-line, honestly.
Yeah, it does kind of give me concerns because it reminds me of, like, the Chiefs, how they did in the Super Bowl. Like, what if Kyler Murray just continues to scramble the whole time? So
yeah, and then those corners, Byron Murphy has been pretty good. But across the board, I don't think that secondary is as talented as the Bills. I don't think the linebackers are as talented. And the D-line, as far as the premier talent, and Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, probably better than the Bills, but the Bills are just so deep. We've seen J.J. Watt get injured a lot. Chandler Jones is kind of old. I don't know if he's going to be the same player. Obviously, we saw him whoop Taylor Lewan in the first game of the season. But I don't know if I'm going to see that from him every week. What I will see is the Bills and their depth on the D-line. And I think depth is one of the most important things you can have because you can constantly be rotating these guys, and they're always going to be fresh, and they're always going to be performing at that level.
Yeah.
They have great coverage linebackers, which I think is extremely important when it comes to covering tight ends in this league.
I can't remember what linebacker it was, but he covered. I saw him. Tyreek Hill was coming through the middle, and he just happened to
see Edmonds.
Yeah, just happened to see him.
He's an electric athlete. Yeah. He is insane. He's 6'5", and he's so fast. That's just like a different body type, and that's a super talented guy. That if he can put it together just a little bit more, he could be an elite linebacker. And I don't believe Matt Milano played against the Chiefs, but he's even better than Tremaine Edmonds, especially in coverage. So when you have all those guys on a defense, I feel like you're just too deep to fall off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I could see the Cardinals falling off with Kyler Murray's play style and that older defense and that secondary where they have some great players in some areas and then kind of meh players in others. Because all it takes is a couple injuries and any team.
And people might say, like, done. what if Josh Allen likes to scramble? He likes to run for first downs too, like we saw on Sunday. What if his style of play gets himself injured when he decides to run?
He's a pretty smart guy.
I know, but what I was gonna say,
he's a lot bigger than Kyler.
Yeah, so what I was gonna say
he's
was
a huge frame as well. Yeah, that's right.
So what I was gonna say is that he is built better than Kyler Murray. And I feel like he'd be a lot more smarter than Kyler Murray when he runs for first downs and stuff.
It's just like when he runs, he's running vertically, and Kyler runs a lot of horizontally,
and kind of like a zigzag type back and forth type thing.
It just like, especially in the pocket, that's tiring, and maybe that much time in the pocket can lead to you taking more hits. And I feel like every time Josh Allen saw, he had to escape the pocket, he did it in a hurry. He was efficient. He slid, and I think overall the Bills are just going to stay healthier. They're a deep team, so even if they're not staying as healthy, they're still going to be great. It's a great roster, and they just dismantled the Chiefs, and I just can't pick any other team.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how that musters out, because that's going to be it's definitely going to be an interesting battle between those two teams going out through the rest of the season. But moving on to a topic that's definitely going to be very controversial, John Gruden, Raiders head coach, resigning. Who wants to lead off?
I'll lead it off.
Okay.
I mean, football teams have the right to do what they want. So if a football team like the Raiders doesn't want a coach representing them with that kind of stuff in the past,
Immature attitude, yeah.
I guess
I think we can probably go a little bit farther than immature.
By all means, they can do what they want. But if you ask me, I don't think something that someone did 10 years ago should dictate what happens today and makes the person who they are today.
Seeing how it's not a crime.
Exactly.
But it's just kind of like, who do you want representing your football team who is professional?
And I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, it's the highest level.
This is what I'm going to say against that. Just about anybody in a professional manner, if you are sitting there dedicated to find dirt on them, and you just sit there and dig, you're going to find something to do exactly this to that person.
But I know everybody could do that. But it's just when you have a business like the NFL and a business like the Raiders, or let's just set an example. Do you want your boss who is telling you what to do, and they're like jacking around? They're not doing what they're doing. They're saying all these stuff, because I know it was 10 years ago, but they did find something in 2018 that was about I think it was the LGBTQ community, but I just don't think that if your boss is saying that they should be, I don't think they should be leading anything if they're saying that type of stuff.
See, I 100% disagree, because I'm a huge proponent for your freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And
that is your amendment right.
He has the right to say what he wants to say, as long as he is doing that outside of the confines of his job. What he says in private and what he says in a private email, outside of his job boundaries, is his business.
Yeah, it's
I'm about to go on a huge tangent when y'all give me the
Okay, I want to say one thing, but still, I'm going to still stick to what I am saying. I know it was 10 years ago. I know he has the freedom of speech, and I totally agree with that. But the Raiders are a big corporation, a big part of the NFL. And when you have somebody that's, representing them in a bad way, I think that makes you look like an embarrassment to the NFL, kind of.
I wouldn't even say he was representing them in a bad way.
Well,
because if you would have never dug this up, and if you would have never put press on this, no one would have been any wiser. It should have never been reported. That's his personal business.
Yeah, and I do.
Second off, I find this very hard to be able to digest. When Trevor mentioned this earlier, we are allowing criminals to still play in the league when they are legit criminals.
Yeah, and I think that should be looked into a little bit more too. But I just forgot what I was going to say. I forgot what I was literally had something I wanted to say, but Caden, do you want to go?
All right, you guys feel pretty good because I'm about to go pretty hard real quick. I have a lot to say and I want to get it all out of the way here. First off, while that is his right, freedom of speech, it's not like this is a government entity that's doing this to him. This is a privately owned business, and you have the freedom of speech. They have the right to do what they want. They can conduct themselves in any way they want. So if they don't want you representing them, then they can terminate you. There are actions to your consequences. There are repercussions. So I guess got that completely backwards.
Yeah, you did.
There's consequences to your actions, and that's something that you can't say these things. 10 years ago or not, private or not, and let's not act like this man was doing this like away from work. He was talking about the NFLPA executive director, DeMaurice Smith.
Basically his boss.
And also, he was...
I'm not a big fan of anyway, but, whatever.
He was also talking to former Washington executive Bruce Allen, where they were exchanging these pics of the Washington football team's cheerleaders.
So, just inappropriate pictures.
Yeah. And then, my thing is, this man is 58 years old. 10 years ago, he was 48. I believe in second chances, but this man was a grown man. It's not like he said these things when he was 15 and didn't know any better. He should have known better, and he probably did. And when you are homophobic and when you are misogynistic and when you are racist, and I don't know if he's racist because I know a lot of players have come out and defended him and said that he did not say these things with racist intent. I don't know his intent. I just know what he said.
Trading photos I don't think that constitutes you as being misogynistic.
But also saying other misogynistic terms in diction.
It doesn't make you misogynistic.
But as a head coach, you have to conduct yourself in a more professional way, and this is a distraction for the team. And I understand, but I don't understand. I'm not so sure that this Washington cheerleader was okay with this happening, for her pictures to be spread amongst these executives and these coaches.
Well, my biggest question there would be how did those photos get taken?
Well, I don't even want to get into that because cheerleaders in the NFL, we've seen it with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. There's a lot of bad stuff that goes on with being a cheerleader. They're pressured to do a lot of things.
They are. But that's why I would truly want to know, were those photos taken in an inappropriate manner? Were they taking them for fun and sending them out?
Well, are they taken consensually or non-consensually? Did anyone give them consent to be shared to John Gruden and these other executives? I highly doubt that. And to me, that is absolutely misogynistic. Well, we just don't know exactly. But you can't say that there was consent. So if you can't say that there was consent, then I'm going to lean more towards that there wasn't. Because if you don't have proof of consent, then I'm just going to say then there probably wasn't consent.
Then that is completely you're guilty until proven innocent. And that's wrong.
Well, I just think in this circumstance,
because at that rate, if you're making all your decisions as an NFL team or coordinator off of that stance, then that's a very sloppy, inappropriate way of handling your business.
But I think when it goes to exchanging pictures, but
we don't know the context of all that.
We don't.
We just know
there's inappropriate pictures. Even there, it's extremely unprofessional.
It's.
And I would.
Was he sent the picture or did he send the picture?
They engaged in exchanging it. I would assume he was sent it, but
because it's different. It's different if you have them and send them to someone. If you receive them but don't do anything with them,
but I don't know if he didn't do anything with them.
That's also completely different.
There's probably a conversation.
Gotten out in the first place.
Listen, these are executives and coaches. You probably just wouldn't send those out of the blue, Not really knowing.
I wouldn't do something like that.
I don't think an executive would do that. Yeah. You don't get there. You don't get to that position doing that type of stuff. Yeah, and then I would like to close because I really do agree with Trevor, and I do agree with Nathan on this point that there are abusers in the NFL that have been met with very little to even no consequences. Mm-hmm. And I don't agree with that. And I think that John Gruden, his termination or his resignation, because let's be real, he would have been terminated. I think for them to do that and not handle these abusers in a similar manner, I think that just goes to show that the NFL just kind of wants to protect their image.
Mm-hmm. Well,
when these players like Kareem Hunt and Tyreek Hill,
they want to protect the money. So
exactly, they want to protect their brand. They want to protect everything. It all folds into that. And I just think they're not doing it for the right reasons. They're not doing it because they want to be progressive or to fight against homophobia, misogyny, and racism. They're doing it so they can protect their product, and their product is football. And with this,
football players, yeah.
Well, it's product. I don't know if we can say their product is football
they
players.
They are most definitely a product.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That sounds a little.
Product.
I mean, technically, the consumers, us, the watchers, all the products.
No, we're not being sold.
We don't have to be. We don't consume.
They are getting money for us.
But we're not the We're consuming the product. We're the consumers. We're not the product. The NFL
the
show
game is a product for us, but for the NFL, it's like we are the product for Google.
I got a C+ in science, so I don't know a whole bunch
Google
about consumers, producers, and all that type of science
stuff. It's a
stuff.
little deeper than just that surface. Anyway, where I see the problem with this, to where I feel like this is a sloppy handling of a decision here.
Went in and out.
They just most definitely pick and choose of who they want in and out, and we don't know the validity of everything that has happened between him and the people he's supposedly said these things to. We don't know the validity of what these players have done as far as being abusers or whatever, but it is completely evident of what is important to the NFL, because let's be honest, a head coach doesn't bring in near as much money as a single player does.
Because you don't buy coach attire, you buy player attire.
You buy player's attire, exactly. Yeah. But they get the ad revenue, they get all the front page ads and everything. So, regardless of whether a player is a true abuser or not, they're most definitely going to protect a player at all costs. We hardly see players ever kicked out of the NFL for it, and I think is honestly good. I don't want to see abusers staying in the game. I saw you pop up. I don't want to see abusers stay in the game, but I don't want to see anyone fired until they are proven guilty.
Yeah,
because
but I feel like no one's like trying to dispute that these emails were fake. Not John Gruden never made an attempt. He just resigned. So I think they're pretty clearly.
I will say him just resigning definitely shows that there was something there that
there's some guilt
there. That or he just didn't want to even attempt to fight the fight that he would have.
I feel like if you're innocent, then you absolutely fight the fight. But John Gruden knows he's not innocent,
and he knows.
I feel like we all know he's not innocent. Not completely.
I would disagree with the whole not fighting the fight thing, because there's a huge problem in our country right now. If we were going straight to the NBA right now, that'd be a great segue into Kyrie Irving, but we'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm. But what we know with Gruden, what's out there. What he did was not the greatest thing.
But we got to take all this but with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to close with saying I personally agree with John Gruden resigning and being pressured to resign, but I feel like they need to be
more consistent with it.
More consistent with that type of behavior,
and also make sure that there's more transparency.
But I want to see them handle these situations with these players coming out as abusers, and I want to see those situations handled better in the future. But I don't think we're going to see that, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, wrapping up with NFL, we're going to go into what was our record for our Week 5 picks.
Oh yeah, so weekend. Our Week 5, Caden was kind of at the back end with.
He was doing poopy this weekend.
Yeah, he's not the best. 8 out of 16, and then Nathan with 10 out of 16, and then Trevor 12, and then I had 13 picks. Correct.
Hey, if this is
Mic
golf,
drop.
I'm
yeah, that's golf.
That's a problem.
Golf.
Okay. So anyway, now we move into our picks for Week 6, and to start off, we have Thursday night Buccaneers at the Eagles, and we're going to stay quiet for half a second because apparently someone needs an emergency.
Needs an emergency or is having
The
ambulance is pre-ordering emergencies now.
You're going to have a knee
That's what vaccinations
right
are.
Yeah.
That's a pre-order on a disease later down the road. Okay, they went the other way. Awesome. Cool. Yes, we have the Buccaneers playing at the Eagles this weekend.
3, 2, 1, Buccaneers.
For sure.
I thought we were all gonna.
I
thought we were gonna.
Okay, yeah, that's so.
I kind of just wanted to ruin your moment.
I thought we were all gonna say it. Thank you guys for saying it at the same time. I thought 3, 2, 1 meant we're all gonna say it at the same time, but it's fine. That's fine.
Next, we have the Dolphins are playing the Jaggies.
Oh,
I think this is gonna be.
There's just gonna be Jack's first win.
Yeah, this is gonna be the first win for Trevor Lawrence, and it's gonna be a phenomenal win for Jacksonville.
I can agree with that. I'll go Jaguars.
All right, so far we're all together. Mm-hmm. Next, we have the Vikings playing at the Panthers.
Vikings and Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to win that. Is Gilmore going to... When is he going to start playing?
I think there's a good chance he's probably still out.
He's still out. Okay. Well, I'd still pick the Panthers just because their defense is lighting everything. It's just so dynamic, and then Chris McCaffrey's going to be coming back too. So
he's back this week?
Yeah. Well, last week he said that the reason why he didn't play is because he just got out, and they didn't want to put him in that situation. But I think he will be coming back this week.
What about Dalvin Cook? Is he going to be back?
Dalvin Cook, I think he's still out. I mean,
I'm not so sure, but. Man, that's tough because I feel like the Vikings really going to bounce back win.
Yeah,
I'm taking the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings that one.
Man, but I like the Panthers more, honestly, right now.
So who's your pick?
I feel like I'll pick the Panthers.
Tell me your answer. Panthers.
All right. Now we have a tough one. Chargers at the Ravens.
Statement game. This is a statement game for the Chargers, I feel like.
This is potentially a divisional playoff game.
Yeah. I would say the Chargers. I think the
I would
Chargers.
honestly go with the Chargers. Eckler's playing really good.
This is Lamar's coming out game. Well, like really his entire career has been a coming out game, but this is his coming out game. He's gonna do it.
I'm taking the Ravens.
Ravens are winning this one.
I got
Chargers.
Ravens.
All right.
Next we have the Rams at the Giants. I think the Giants are going to have a nice easy win. No, I'm kidding. I'm taking the Rams.
Rams. Yeah, the Rams.
I'll take the Rams.
All right.
Hopefully Cooper Kupp has a good game.
Then the Texans are going to die at the Colts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll pick the Colts.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
the Colts.
Yeah, I'll take the Colts. They're at home.
Next, Washington hosts the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
I'm taking the football team.
I'll take the Chiefs.
Please.
I'm taking the football team.
Please, Kansas City.
I can't blame you at this point.
If the Chiefs lose this next game, I don't think I'll talk the rest of the podcast for the next episode.
So y'all are all taking Chiefs?
Yeah.
Well, I'm taking the football team.
What a loser.
Then we have the Packers at the Bears.
Good rivalry game.
I'll take the Packers.
Yeah, Packers.
I got Packers.
I think the Packers are going to win it after 4 last-second field goal attempts.
It's definitely going to be closer than I wanted to be, but I got Packers.
Then we have the Bengals at the Lions.
Bengals and Lions.
Man, you kind of feel like the Lions have to get one eventually.
They've been so close.
That's my upset of the week. I'll pick the Lions.
I'll go Bengals. Shoot.
I'm
sorry, Lions.
I'm going Bengals.
Yeah.
Next,
you're going 8-8.
Next we got the Cardinals at the Browns.
Cardinals and Browns. Cardinals.
If there's going to be an upset for them, I feel like this could be it.
Okay. I still think Cardinals are going to win.
Browns are home. They've been looking good the last couple games.
I'll pick the Browns. I think that run game is probably going to run all over this defense.
That's what I was thinking. I
Yeah,
got Browns.
I'm taking Browns.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still sticking with Cardinals.
Okay.
Loser.
Next we have the Cowboys at the Patriots.
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Pick Cowboys.
I'll pick the Cowboys.
Then we have the Raiders at the Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos. I'm taking Broncos.
Raiders are kind of in shambles right now. They don't have a head coach.
You can say the exact same about the Broncos.
Oh yeah, they don't have a starting quarterback. Get backups in. Shoot,
His backups are decent.
I'll pick the Drew Lock. Is not that decent. I'll pick the Raiders.
Well, okay.
I will take the Raiders, honestly. Yeah, I'm changing my pick.
I'm sticking with Broncos.
Uh-huh.
Then we have Seattle Seahawks at the Steelers. Taking the Steelers.
Oh, we forgot to mention Russell Wilson's thingy, did we?
Russell Wilson broke his hand. He'll probably be in soon or another. But his backup's doing better than him, so I'll say leave him in.
Geno Smith MVP.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Steelers.
I'm
Yeah,
going
I'll go Steelers as well.
And then finally for our Monday night game, we have the Bills at the Titans.
The Bills are going to dominate. The Bills are going to dismantle the Titans.
So
dismantle's been my word.
I want the Bills to win, but I feel like the Tennessee Titans could upset them at home.
I'm going to go Tennessee.
The
second
the Bills take away that run game, they're screwed.
It'll be interesting. Definitely be interesting.
Derrick Henry's a different breed. That's a different man.
So, Easton will get all those logged up, and we'll see how that goes next weekend. Moving into college football, our first big topic, probably the biggest topic, we have Alabama losing to unranked Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Trevor, what do you got for us?
Definitely say Alabama does have some things to work on, especially the run game, because Spiller just ran all over them.
Oh, yeah.
Alabama's special teams, it just felt like every time A&M needed the answer, they did. Because Alabama was closing in on them. What does A&M do? They take a kickoff return back for a touchdown.
They took advantage of the opportunities that were presented in front of them, and
Exactly.
they made Alabama pay.
And unless you're Arkansas State, if you are controlling and ahead on the special teams, if you're scoring on special teams, then you're going to win the game.
Exactly. I just think A&M took the opportunities they needed to take opportunities on. Alabama just didn't perform. I mean, the offense definitely did good, but I think the problems are on the defensive side, and it's definitely the run game.
Can we talk about the playoff implications of this? Because in the SEC championship, it'll probably be Georgia and Alabama, right? Do you all agree with that?
Oh, for sure. Probably,
and then Georgia, I would say, is favored to beat Alabama.
If you ask me, Georgia looks more like a complete team than Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I don't see a two-loss team going into the playoffs. So listen, Clemson's out. Obviously, Alabama will be out. That's that's 3 slots that I really don't know who will finish, and I really hope it's Cincinnati because I like Cincinnati.
I know, I do.
I don't see Oklahoma staying.
I could maybe see Oklahoma.
I
don't know. It's tough, but I like Iowa a little bit right now.
I hate saying that or hearing that because a good buddy Brandon's there now.
Yeah.
But I don't want him to be unsuccessful.
I can't wait
Why would I ever want Brandon to be unsuccessful?
I can't wait to talk about Iowa and Penn State. He's gonna be so mad at me. Is that next?
Okay?
We'll go into it.
On the Penn State thing, they did lose to Iowa at Iowa. What shocks me is how Alabama still ranked higher than them.
True.
In the rankings.
I don't
Alabama
get that.
went to 5, losing to an unranked team, but Penn State goes to 7, losing to a team that was higher than them.
That's
the
so
only
stupid.
thing I could see why that is because Penn State's quarterback was injured, and we don't know when his return is going to be. Mm-hmm. So that might play a role into it.
And Brandon, the only reason why Iowa won is because Sean Clifford went out, and you guys would have gotten destroyed if he stayed in. I don't see Iowa. Can we talk? Are we going to go into Iowa and Penn State?
Yeah, we're doing it now.
Okay, yeah. So Iowa, I don't see them being a top 4 team. They'll be a good top 10, top 5 team, but I don't see them.
If you ask me, Penn State was the hardest team they have on the schedule right now.
True, but Sean Clifford, who is the main part of that game,
be any higher ranked now. Later in the season,
I don't think
they can't move up. I don't think.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way
they have to win out to stay where they are now.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't see them.
And they have to win out convincingly. And I think Oklahoma will probably rise up in the rankings. Listen, we got Spencer Rattler. I mean, he's done. Caleb Williams is the new starter. He looks pretty good.
He did look good.
Led them to a victory. So
I think they'll be better. Comeback.
Yeah.
I don't know what
else to say. Then I think Oklahoma will probably make it just because they do sell tickets. If they're going to be in the playoffs, more people are going to watch than if Iowa was.
Yeah, and I think
if you have to choose one, if they're really close, you're choosing Oklahoma.
Yeah, and I think the people that do the rankings need to take into consideration that Iowa has the lightest schedule out of the top 4 teams so far, or down the stretch. They got Purdue, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Minnesota, Illinois, Nebraska. So I think that they should take into consideration that.
Honestly, Nebraska, they need to be worried about Nebraska. Nebraska looks pretty good.
But they'll still find a way to choke. I mean, Nebraska's been choking every single game.
Do you think there's any way a Michigan or a Michigan State can get in?
No, I don't think.
I'm not kidding, bro.
Michigan has a chance, but who they got? They got Michigan State to worry about still, and Penn State to worry about, and Ohio State. So I don't see them making it. But I do believe Georgia should be number 1. I think Cincinnati needs to be number 2. Iowa needs to drop down to number 6 or 7. Penn State will be 3. Oklahoma will be 4th.
Now, I truly believe that we could definitely see Alabama back up in the top 3 at some point.
But if they lose to Georgia in the SEC championship, if you put a 2-loss team in there, I just can't see that. I would completely disagree. I think it'd be a disgrace to the college football. And I think it'd be really disrespectful to these other teams that are going to be undefeated and left out with a 2-loss Alabama in there.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be the first
and
time?
Alabama, they have a hard...
I don't think we've ever seen a 2-loss in the playoffs.
No.
Okay.
Alabama's got Mississippi State, Tennessee, LSU, New Mexico State, Arkansas, Auburn, which those are teams that are hungry in the SEC, and they will
especially now since the way it's...
Yeah, we know they're beatable.
Yeah,
teams are going to come in with that chip on their shoulder.
Especially
I really don't know if Alabama will drop another game until they get to Georgia. This is all hypothetical. I mean, because Alabama, Nick Saban could kind of get on their ass, and Alabama could beat Georgia. I don't see it happening, but it's a possibility. So this is all hypothetical. But If they do have 2 losses after playing Georgia in the SEC championship, then they should be out.
Well, see, I think the SEC championship is definitely going to determine what SEC team is going to go to the playoffs.
No, absolutely, yeah. Actually, no. I think if Alabama wins, they both get in. But if Alabama loses, they're out.
Yeah.
I mean, and Ole Miss looks phenomenal. Kentucky, where did they come from?
Nowhere, yeah.
Arkansas, and I can see them.
Arkansas's not making it.
I know, but I can see them beating Alabama. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't see that
honestly,
happening.
I feel where Arkansas is ranked right now fits them so far.
Yeah, so Alabama lost to Texas A&M. Arkansas beat Texas A&M. Is Arkansas considered better than Alabama?
Life.
Yeah.
But then also, didn't Alabama freaking destroy Ole Miss?
It was like 21-42, something like that. But
Yeah.
And
multiple.
And Ole Miss only scored once their starters went back on the bench or something.
You don't want to move back to Ole Miss though? Talking about them in Arkansas. Y'all ready?
Go for it.
I mean, I'm asking.
There really wasn't much to talk about that game other than there's no defense.
I want to talk about Matt Corral and his performance, and I want to talk about KJ Jefferson's.
We'll say, Jacob Jefferson definitely had a better game than Corral did.
He did play. I was more impressed with a lot of Matt Corral's throws, but if you go by the numbers, KJ Jefferson.
But if you look at the throws, that was botched coverage on the Hawks. 2 of his throws that went for touchdowns, there was no one near him, at least 10 yards away.
Almost every quarterback gets those in a game. Like you'll get
not 2 or 3 though.
Yeah,
you could get.
Unless you're playing Arkansas State.
Well, if you're playing
keeping my mouth shut as always.
2 or 3, especially with the secondary state right now. But Matt Corral looked amazing. I think he might be the best quarterback in college football right now.
They come back from last year throwing 6 interceptions against this team, and then they come back to win. Definitely shows how much mature he's grown this year, and just how much patience he has now. But
he's great, and I think he's the best quarterback.
It's so funny to see KJ Jefferson in the pocket because he literally looks like a mannequin out there.
No, what I like is when he's like post game. Looks like just angry as hell. Like he looks so goddamn mad.
Yeah.
And it's just really funny. Like man, he plays with intensity. He has to because he's still got that clench to his face. Like 10 minutes after they lose.
Yeah.
Everyone compares him to Cam Newton. I can definitely see that because he has that big body.
Just runs it up the middle. So he's gonna get those extra yards if he needs them and stuff like that, and has the passing game.
Okay, so. Now, for the first time being covered here by the network, we're going to move into the NBA. Preseason is starting up, and some hot news has dropped that Kyrie Irving could be potentially retiring, but for sure will not be playing in the state of New York because he doesn't want to get vaccinated, and I applaud him.
But, I mean, it sucks to see Kyrie Irving not play this year just because of the level of talent that he provides in the NBA. It sucks that he doesn't want to be a team player, and it's going to be a different season without Kyrie Irving.
I definitely see someone offering him a new spot.
I also agree with you. Yes, without Kyrie Irving, it's going to hurt him. But they have James Harden.
But Philadelphia is kind of swooping into James Harden, talking to him a little bit, but we'll never know what's going to happen with that. But that's just some insider information.
I'm going to disagree with you guys. If I'm Kyrie, man, just get vaccinated. Go win a championship because your legacy could really use it at this point.
But
I said this like 2 years ago. I thought Kyrie should retire because he had done nothing but tarnish his legacy after he hit that shot in Oracle to win Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since then, he has just tarnished his legacy. And he's gotten worse and worse. And if he played this year, there's a good chance they do get this ring. And the only way he's going to be playing in New York, that's the only way he's going to get that ring, is if he gets vaccinated. I get it. It's personal choice.
That's why
But you have to be a team player. Like, at some point, man, just... He's so against the grain, and he's such an individual, and I think that hurts him, at least in this. And I get it. He's a man of his own opinion. That's fine. You can have the freedom of... You can choose what you want to do with your body. That's okay. I think everyone should get vaccinated, but not everyone has that opinion, and that's fine. But... as a team player, I find it kind of selfish of him to not, because let's be real, KD went to New York because he knew Kyrie would be joining him, and Kyrie really hasn't been present.
And KD believed in Kyrie, and now that he's like throwing, like it makes Kevin Durant look like an idiot for trusting this guy to be a team player. Because KD is that organization right now. I know, you know, because
he's definitely the face of the organization.
He is the face of that organization, and he brought James Harden over.
There's a good chance he's the best player in the world.
Yeah,
he's probably top.
He's top 2. I'd say he's number 1 right now. But
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think him or Giannis is an interesting debate right now.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about that next episode now that NBA's come back, and I'm excited that NBA's coming back. But it sucks that Kyrie Irving doesn't want to be a team player. I do agree. Like it is your personal choice, but yeah, like man, just go.
But he's standing up for. He's standing up for what he believes to be right. He's standing up for your rights,
and that's fine.
And I think that is what we need in this country right now, where everyone is getting trampled because you don't agree with each other.
I think man should just get vaccinated, save himself, get some money, get his millions.
But he's already made money though, so I mean,
yeah, but
matter.
I mean, listen, we've seen players make money, and guess what? They want more money because they like to live that lifestyle.
So
they don't
you
want to
say that's selfish, but I think it's selfish of you for wanting him to do that.
No, I think it's selfish that as a teammate, it's selfish of him.
Yeah, that's my point.
Sorry,
you say it's selfish of him for not wanting to get vaccinated, just be a team player. I say it's selfish of you for wanting him to just do it.
Oh, I don't want him to do it. But if I was his teammate, I mean,
I'd be
listen.
off.
You're not when you become part of a team and anything, you're no longer an individual. And if that affects you, like if your choices outside affect you inside of that team setting, then you're being selfish.
I 100% disagree with that because what makes you individual is what makes you a key team player.
But you have to come together as a team.
Yeah, team sports
and because of these decisions that if they were being a team player as a league, they would let you make your decision of whether to get.
Well, no, they're trying to protect their product, and they're trying to protect the players and the staff and everyone involved. Obviously they're trying to protect their product. Like that's the main purpose of this.
No,
so
they're trying to maintain their view in a political field.
No, they're trying
Absolutely.
to because when teams get compromised with COVID, then it absolutely does protect you because
it protects you, but him getting vaccinated is not going to protect the rest of the team.
If they're all vaccinated, it does. I mean, because when Kyrie, if Kyrie has COVID and they're exposed to him, there probably is going to have to be some procedure, and just what you insinuated. What I was more so arguing is that they shouldn't mandate that across the league. They should let players make that their own choice. But Absolutely. They're trying to protect their product. And if players aren't getting vaccinated and they're having COVID outbreaks, games are canceled. The NBA can't afford that right now. They've lost out on too much money.
I absolutely disagree with that. They are trying to protect their public view. And right now,
I disagree.
There's a huge public view in the mainstream.
Regardless, it's the state of New York.
It's not the NBA. The NBA
it is.
The NBA hasn't mandated vaccines.
Right.
It's just the state of New York
which
has
vaccines. Right there, that is a violation of private business, which I can't believe that is going on in New York right now. There's huge lawyers fighting that whole thing right now.
Mm-hmm. But Kyrie Irving does have his choice to get vaccinated, but you're a part. Whenever you join a team sport, you have to be a part of that team, and you have to.
You know what? When you don't agree with that, you get the hell out, and he did.
Yeah, he did.
He is.
But man,
Kyrie, as someone on that team, I'd just love if he would just.
Because Kyrie Irving is such a.
But who wouldn't love if everyone just did what they wanted them to do?
Exactly.
True, but Kyrie Irving is such a great player.
Don't you kind of owe it to the team when you sign a contract like that and you make a commitment to them? Like you kind of owe it to them to be present.
I would.
And he hasn't been present his whole time.
I'm not saying if I sign a contract and they say, "Oh, you can't be Catholic," I'm not going to do that. It's kind of the same thing. If I sign a contract and say, "Oh, you got to take this vaccine," and I don't agree with it, then I'm just going to leave.
I just don't think getting the vaccine is that big of a deal. Like I feel like it's been politicized.
He's keeping it from compromising who he is.
I don't think getting a vaccine is just that big of someone's identity. I think it's a huge part. I don't think it should be.
Being forced to do something medically against your will is against your freedoms. And if
do you think schools shouldn't have vaccinations for just the normal school vaccines?
I don't think they should.
Polio?
I feel like those vaccines, polio vaccines and stuff. Yeah. I think they should. I feel like it protects children.
If it is a private university or school, then absolutely they can do what they want. Yeah, but as a public institution, and guess what? There are exemptions around that. They're actually not requirements.
I know you can get around.
There is one I don't have that I got out with. Same with Trevor.
Mm-hmm. No, I have it. You don't.
Well, way to just out your personal business on the podcast.
I mean, but but it fights. It's my point though. Like I'm not vaccinated against the whole STD thing, but guess what? I'm also not sleeping around.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like everyone can be exposed to COVID. Like you can protect yourself by using protection and not sleeping around. That's such a weird topic.
I think we need to cut that part out.
No. I feel like we should leave it in. Okay, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, okay, so I don't know a whole lot about the that type of stuff, and I like to keep my political views into myself. But as a sport, as watching sports, and I want to keep this to Kyrie Irving because this is what the topic's about. As an NBA fan, I would love to see Kyrie Irving win a championship with KD and James Harden because that team would have been so much fun to watch. And now that the Lakers are stacked, I don't think the Nets can compete with the Lakers. Now that Kyrie Irving's not there anymore. I know that James Harden has the deadliest 3-point shot in the game.
That's not true. Look, he just has a bag. He's a deep bag. I'll say that.
Okay, he's the deadliest stat bag.
He's the deadliest one of the deadliest shooters in the NBA. And then you add Kyrie Irving to that team. That's just a whole different ball game. Kyrie Irving can snap ankles all day.
I'll put it this way: just to end it out real quick, does the Kyrie Irving decision hurt the Nets?
Absolutely.
Yes and no. The reason I say no is because if they stay healthy, which isn't going to happen because KD is kind of prone to injury, and James Harden is kind of prone to injury. But if they were perfect world, if they were to stay healthy, they would still be contenders.
Well, yeah, but you remove a team's best player to say that doesn't hurt them because they would still be contenders without him. That doesn't mean that doesn't hurt them. Obviously, it hurts them. It might not affect them as much because
does it hurt them as a team? Yes. Does it hurt them overall?
No, because it lowers your ceiling. Let's say the Lakers are hot and you meet them in the NBA Finals, but you can't beat them. But maybe with the addition of Kyrie Irving, you can.
Yeah.
But see, I'll disagree with that because we have seen time and time again in the NBA that if you have too many top players on the same team, one of them is not going to perform at their top peak, and we saw that.
But they can still overall benefit the team, even if they're not performing at their own.
But so can a mediocre player.
Yeah, but Kyrie Irving at his best.
Russell Westbrook had one of his worst seasons at the Rockets.
Yeah, but okay,
but it was definitely a slump.
It's definitely the personality that you bring in.
Chris Paul really that just had more to do with his shooting struggles in the playoffs because he had a great regular season, an insane regular season. It was just he really did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying Chris Paul, them two being together. Yeah, sorry, it was James Harden. Sorry, I just. My bad, but James Harden, because Chris Paul was there the year before. But him and James Harden, I don't think them being paired together, I don't think that hurt Westbrook. He did have to change his style.
But also, when Irving was at the Cavaliers, I felt like LeBron James and J.R. Smith really shadowed over him. And
J.R. Smith did not overshadow. What are you saying?
As being another good shooter.
But that was his entire role was to be a catch and shoot. He didn't overshadow Kyrie at all.
But Irving didn't lack, but he was held back from his full potential. Whereas
blasphemous.
Yeah, because
I feel like that is blasphemous. That is laughable. To say J.R. Smith hindered Kyrie finding his full potential in Cleveland.
I'm just saying as another shooter on the team.
A point guard having another shooter on the team. If you perform worse as a point guard when you have a shooter on your team, then sorry, you're just a bad point guard. That should benefit you because you're gonna find them for open shots, and that's gonna help your assist total. So I
don't think I'm really illustrating what I'm trying to say.
Well, because I don't feel like your point is strong. I feel like it's a terrible point you're trying to make.
Point being is that since Irving has left the Cavaliers, I felt like he's looked like a better player.
I disagree.
No, because when he went to Boston,
way worse.
When he went to Boston, that was just a whole embarrassment to his career. And then he goes to the Nets, and I'm like, looks like his career's gonna go in the right direction. But Kyrie
Irving. I wrote something 2 years ago because I thought he should retire because he's just not, and it's not because he's a bad player, or untalented. But it's just his focus is not on basketball, and we've seen that when he decides, and that's okay. I don't think Kyrie's a bad dude for that. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna play a team sport, you're gonna have to be completely committed to that team sport, and he's just not. And I feel like when you're like that, then maybe you should not be playing.
Okay,
so when he's on the court, it just doesn't look like he's having funny.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever
for him, and this is like to a bunch of other players at times. I mean, that's his job and a livelihood. I mean, it's not always going to be a sport for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then I want to talk about the personality-wise. I wanted to try to butt in, but you guys were already like good on the conversation, so I don't want to interrupt. So when when Russell Westbrook was paired up with James Harden, that was not a good personality combo.
But they had
they
really
well.
like
each other. They liked each other. That was
they had done really well.
What was the bad personality on the Rockets then?
Chris Paul and James Harden.
Okay, that's what I mean.
See, we're all getting the James Harden.
We keep on getting them. But the main point that I want to make
is I'm so sorry that you're a Rockets fan.
The main point that I want to say is like when you're paired with somebody like LeBron James, who is like such a big part of the NBA, you are going to do what he says, and that's final. He is like the GOAT.
LeBron though is that he kind of let Kyrie like shine. Kyrie was taking more shots
than
him. Kyrie was taking more shots than him.
Exactly.
And he let Kyrie close the game, and he probably needed him to because let's be real, LeBron's just not a great 3-point shooter.
At that time, LeBron James did have more of a
bigger impact, and that's why.
He's a better player.
But there was more focus on him, so to let someone like Kyrie take over
when it's needed.
Especially because he has Steph Curry on him. Like that's a good matchup.
Yeah, like so the reason why LeBron James is such a GOAT in the NBA is that the GOAT. You had it right the first time. The GOAT of the NBA.
He lets other players shine when they
exactly. Need to. He is a team player, and he will make like AD Russell Westbrook shine.
Well, anyway, we've had a couple of controversial stuff to talk about today. We'd love to see y'all's opinions about that down in the comments. And let us know what else y'all want to hear going on forward. Let us know if you want to hear about more of the NBA preseason stuff with the rookies. What are your predictions for this weekend? Who's going to be the top 5 in college? And
top 4.
Good night.